The Hearts Against Heroin campaign with Somerset Hospital, the Conemaugh Health System, and the Cambria County Drug Coalition. And I have with me today Mike Vavrick, who is a recovering addict. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
The first thing, at what age were you when you first used a drug? And what was it? Was it cigarettes? Was it a beer? How old were you?
Well, surprisingly, I was 14 years old, and I was at a punk rock concert in Altoona. And my friends were all older than me, so the guy that was putting acid in everybody's cup had assumed I had already tripped before, and at that point, I had not. So I had no idea what was going on, and I started freaking out, and his solution to that was to shoot me up with heroin to calm me down.
Now, at 14, 15, 16 years old, you're going home on acid. Parents, what do they say at that point?
Well, I had some pretty cool parents. They did not know at all. They had no idea. One time my dad caught me swatting at butterflies in the living room, and that was a really intense discussion where I was never to go out of the house, never go to a concert, never interact with anyone, and all that type of thing. And I don't know how that resolved itself, but it was,
So he knew at that point.
He knew that I had tried it, and he was really like, "Oh my God, of all of my kids, you weren't the one that I expected."
Did it get to the point where all your peers knew that this was your thing and this is what you did, and did you get others involved in it?
No, I was real precious about it being mine. I was an isolator, so I didn't want anyone else in on my secret. They all knew. Everybody that I hung with were hippies, so the acid flew around, the weed flew around, but my secret kind of shame, I guess, was that I was adding a bunch of narcotics to it too, because that just kept me from freaking out. That kept me from going crazy.
Right. So you're almost graduating from high school. You're past high school. Is there a low moment of your life that, did something happen that you got into trouble, or you just decide on your own it was time to get help?
I was trying to get clean for about 5 years before I ultimately did. So there was a lot of lows. I could go on for days about getting water out of puddles to cook heroin with, or melting snow in a syringe. Just whenever it all came to a head for me, I was living out of the back of a stolen car on Decker Mountain, in the wintertime. And that's when it all hit the fan. It was going south fast.
What did your family have to do with it? Did they try to help you, or were they supportive in the whole?
They were supportive until they felt helpless, and they kicked me out of the house, and I still had contact with my mom, but I was wanted in 3 states. It was madness, and I wasn't comfortable being a criminal, so it was.
Were you wanted for buying or dealing?
For buying, getting whatever I could to get the drugs.
Wow.
Yeah, it was madness.
So you decide you want to get clean. Where do you go?
I went to New Visions back in the day. It was madness because the recovery then wasn't what it is now. It's a huge difference between where I came from and where it is now. There's a lot more resources now than there were.
How long did it take you? Were there many failures in your attempt to get clean?
Yes, there were many, many, many failures. The only thing that saved my life, in truth, was I sat in jail for 2 years. And when I got out, that was it. September 10th, 2004, the last time I put heroin in my body.
Totally awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're doing along with the Cambria County Drug Coalition is, we want to educate parents, educate our youth. All right, I have a 13-year-old kid. As a parent, what's the best advice you can give me?
I would get into his head about who's he hanging out with, what are his interests, and then kind of loosely ask him what he knows about it.
You're a success story in the battle against heroin in our area, and we thank you for being a part of the show.
No, pleasure's all mine.
He is Mike Vavrick, a recovering addict, the Hearts Against Heroin campaign with Somerset Hospital, Conemaugh Health System, and Forever Media.